Yeah, no.
Welcome, I'm Chris Langley, and today we're going to be looking at growing up in Big Pine and being in the Navy and then coming back to the Owens Valley, because once you get Owens Valley dirt in your shoes, you're lost. You have to come back. So, and our guest is Will Wadelton, is that correct?
Correct,
All right.
Wadelton.
And he's going to talk to us especially about his experience in the Navy, but I think he'll throw in any number of stories. He's a great storyteller. So talk to me about growing up in Big Pine. What was it like? What was Big Pine like? Has it changed much?
Big Pine was a wonderful place to grow up as a kid. But for me, it was perfect. The population has barely gone up since I was a kid. The school's got a fence and a new coat of paint, but still
It's
the
a good
same.
school.
It's a good school.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed my time there. Um, the town was just big enough that I could get to the edge and go play in the fields, go to the store, do what I had to. As long as I was on my street headed home when the street lights came on, I was doing what I was supposed to when I was younger.
How was your football career?
I
High school football career.
I played high school football 3 or 4 years. I was a
Like
100.
any kid that wants to can do.
Hey, that's
any of our schools.
yeah. It may have been 8-man football, but there was 20 of us my freshman year. I was 125 pounds, and I was able to start the third or fourth game on defense. It was amazing. I was 145 when I graduated, and I my senior football year was very memorable, and
Did
I
you get a
cherish.
trophy?
I don't remember. I made all CIF, so I got a very, very nice coin, which I
Okay.
still possess.
Oh, excellent. And when did you graduate?
I graduated in 2003.
Did you have a girlfriend?
I did have a high school girlfriend, not when I graduated, a little earlier on.
Okay.
Yeah, I spent most of my senior year and the year after in Big Pine just single, just doing my
Hanging
own
out.
thing, hanging out, working.
And you joined the Navy. Now, why the Navy? Or
I joined the Navy for a lot of reasons. My stepbrothers had joined the Navy. I didn't. They were much older than me. I never knew them as kids. Some of them already in and out of the Navy when I met them and talked to them. And I've always been interested in nuclear power. And there's really only two routes to get into nuclear power and go to a lot of school and do a lot of things and learn how to build them, or go into the Navy and learn how to operate them. I want to learn how to operate them. So I joined the Navy with the with the idea that I was going to operate a nuclear reactor. The job I picked, meaning that I needed to wait about a year for me to leave Big Pine. So I hung around Big Pine, played electrician, and made some pizzas for a year.
and then you were off to,
Then I was off to boot camp up in Great Lakes, Illinois.
okay.
That was a 13-week program back when I was in, and I learned how to tie some knots and fight some fires and march in a straight line, and
All the important things.
lacing your boots up correctly is very important.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very. And then as I was in boot camp, that's where I was supposed to be able to kind of pick my job. And because the nuclear field, there's 3 base rates, if you will, and you're allowed to give them your dream sheet. And I was already an electrician, so I said I'll do that first. And then electronics sounds like a lot of school. I get to learn something. I did that second. And I didn't know what machinist meant, so I put that last. And in the 5 minutes I was in the room, and I also volunteered for submarines while I was in the room, they're like, okay, you'll be a machinist mate. Just 2 guys sitting at a desk, and I'm just a little recruit across the way. And they weren't yelling at me, so I was fine. They're like, you're a machinist mate. I said, okay. And they're like, okay, you're sub-voling? I'm like, yes, sir. They're like, I was like, yes, Petty Officer. And I signed my sub-vols because submarine had a crew size I could manage, while a carrier had
A little more like Big Pine than
had twice the
LA.
population of my town, and I wasn't sure about it.
And how long were you trained for? Navy.
So my total schooling was just under 2 years for becoming a machinist mate, learning how a reactor works, and then actually operating a real reactor in a river in South Carolina. Took just under 2 years for myself.
Now, did you get paid during that time?
You got a paycheck every 2 weeks. Yeah, you got a paycheck every 2 weeks. Yeah, most of your housing and food was already, you had housing and food options always available for you. They wanted you to show up for work, so they took a lot of the choices away from you if they could.
I'm just reading my notes to see what I left out. I forgot to mention you were in mathletes.
Oh, yeah. Back in high school, I was able
Yeah.
to do everything. I played baseball from T-ball all the way to high school. I wanted to play football with my friend and ended up loving it and being decent at it.
And nothing got broken?
No, I broke my shoulder. I only played 3 years. So the girlfriend, so my junior year, I didn't play because of my shoulder injury and my girlfriend. And I regret it to this day. I played my senior year with no girlfriend and a loose shoulder and had a really good time.
I always meet these guys who have bad knees when they're like in their 40s. And I said, did you play any sports in high school? And they said, yeah, I played football. And I said, that's probably why your knees are hurting you now. But they don't regret it, I don't think,
No.
ever. So that's good. Where did you go in the sub, or describe what it's like to be in a submarine? Jimmy and I were talking about it, and I think I'd be claustrophobic in a submarine.
So yeah, I'll just kind of give you the same story I tell a lot of folks. So when I was training on that reactor in the river in South Carolina, it's the back end of it's most of an old submarine. And the beam is 26 feet, which is how wide and how tall it is 26 feet. And I was claustrophobic a bit in there. If I had to spend more than 4 hours in there working and doing stuff, I didn't like it. And I thought I had made a bad choice. Thought I could go underway, but I just couldn't sure if I could be in the back corners all the time. On the boat I ended up on, the beam is roughly 33 feet. And that extra couple feet makes a huge difference. For most of the boat, there's 3 levels, and a 6-foot tall person can walk around 95% of the places without banging their head.
Wow.
Yeah, but that other 5 is where they get you.
Yeah.
I was worried about being claustrophobic, but when I got there, we were in a maintenance period. So it was like 8 weeks of working on stuff, figuring out where stuff was, how to paint gray, how to paint green. And I got used to everything, and we were working long days. So I was down there and I wasn't qualified anything yet. So I showed up before the sun came up, and I went home after the sun went down. I got eased into it. And, when you're in your 20s and this is your job, this is what you've got to do, you hopefully can figure it out.
Yeah.
Most of us did.
Yeah. The ones that didn't were thrown overboard.
No, they weren't thrown overboard. We had a couple that needed to transition to the surface fleet, and a couple that needed to go home. But most of us, just another day at work.
So were these submarines always nuclear powered?
No. America, the U.S.'s submarines now, all the naval submarines are nuclear powered, but nuclear power, the Nautilus was the first nuclear powered submarine in the world, and its capabilities just outdid everything else that was in the water at the time. The admiral had a really good idea, and he pushed for it, and there's no getting around the capabilities that a nuclear reactor can give a submarine or an aircraft carrier. The need to refuel. In America, with the submarine I was on, the only thing that limited how long we could stay out was food for the crew. Just about everything else, just kept on going.
Were you ever on were you ever on an atomic submarine? Were you ever on an atomic submarine?
A nuclear powered submarine? Yeah, I was stationed on a Los Angeles class.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were a nuclear powered submarine.
Because that's what you were trained for.
Yeah,
right?
and that's what we were trained for. That's what I was there for. When I was there was only one diesel submarine in the America's fleet, and it's been decommissioned now, and it's in a museum. Yeah, I wanted to go, but it's a very deep diving research submarine, for the lack of a.
Oh, that would make me uncomfortable too, I think. I wasn't meant for submarines, and deep diving submarines, probably. But and what happened? Well, one thing you saved a submarine, quote unquote.
Yeah,
What
well,
happened with that?
well, there was a casualty that never supposed to happen, and we lost lube oil to our main shaft. And as I was on watch and kind of in charge back there, and we had to stop the boat from going and everything else, and we were a little bit heavy. And usually when we're doing our things, we like to be neutrally buoyant, and we were a little bit heavy, so we were submerging faster and further than we really wanted to. And we did an emergency service or emergency blow, as you've seen on the TV and all the movies, and it looks really fun. And
Kind of goes up and then.
And I've done it for training, and it's, if you get all the way to the front, all the way to the front of the submarine, face forward, and you go up and you go and you get completely weightless. It's really, really fun. Well, that's usually going forward at a set speed, and there's a whole procedure how to do that, even though it's testing the emergency blow system. Well, we were going nowhere. We were basically just still in the water, and so we went straight up.
Ooh.
And no one was around that I know of, or we knew of, but we probably came all the way out of the water, and then we came back down kind of hard. No one was hurt, and me and a friend were able to find the problem, fix the problem, and get going and get submerged rather quickly before we had to tell everybody what we did and what happened. But nobody knew we were supposed to be on the surface there, so
you weren't supposed to be on this.
Well, the Navy didn't. We weren't going anywhere special. We were just going up for sound trials to Alaska. We weren't doing anything in anything. But a submarine's movement is very highly controlled 95% of the time. They want you to go to here in this box and check in at this hour at this space. And then we just kind of popped up and said, "Hey, we're here," when nobody was looking for us there at that time, which is a big deal. But we were able to get over, and make our next check-in, and not a lot of harm or foul.
Good. The last thing I'd like you to talk a little bit about, why should kids, men and women, I guess you would say, join the Navy in general and be on submarines specifically?
Yeah, that's a good point. And not even just young people, even adults that are just kind of stuck where they want to be. 90% of the Navy's jobs, the available jobs, can shift over to a career. The training, all of it just goes right over for the most part. And you can make a really good career if what job you pick, or if you know what you want, you can roll right over. My stepchildren, they're my kids. My kids are, two of them are in the Navy. All three of them are in the IT department. She went to school. She was being supported while she was in school. I never had to loan her money or worry about her at all. She was in Florida. The Navy was handling her. I actually was able to sleep a lot better at night knowing that she was in Florida and the Navy had her figured out than anything else my son was doing in Mississippi, because I've got to check in on him every once in a while and this and that, make sure his rent's paid. We got him going. He did really well. Everything was great, and you can use it to direct your life, or you can use it to do whatever, and you can use it to broaden your horizons. Do something that you're not used to doing. Go somewhere that you had no idea even existed, which is what happens a lot in the Navy.
So you said to me when we were preparing for this that 90% of the jobs prepare you. Well, let's see, 75% of the jobs will prepare you for lucrative.
Will prepare you for. You can have your resumes in, and you could have a job before you get all the way out. The Navy, basically, in the last 45 days, you go to a class, you learn how to be a civilian again. They teach you how to interview for jobs. And if you're, a lot of these jobs, they're actually highly sought after because you have real world experience, you have high stress experience, you have, if you've got a decent resume while you're in the Navy, these people they know you can do the job, and they know you can handle yourself. And there's no other employer in the world that can do some of the things that the U.S. military can. And the Navy in general, very highly trained personnel.
So we could say, if you're thinking of the armed forces, the Navy definitely has a lot of advantages. And I suppose a submarine, if you're so inclined, would be even more so.
If you're like a small, tight-knit group of people working for a common goal, submarines is the way to go.
And you are an advocate for the Owens Valley.
I am a huge advocate for the Owens Valley. I
Me
grew
too.
up here. I left here. I always had an inkling that I would like come back, and then I came back and I visited, and then I was like, maybe I should, and then I came back, and I don't regret it, and you're gonna have to use a crowbar to get me out of here again.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for watching. I'm Chris Langley, and we've been listening to Will Wadelton. I still have trouble saying it.
That's because I don't use it much anymore.
Oh, okay.
I'm
the handyman.
I'm Will the handyman.
Yeah, the submarine handyman. If you have a submarine in trouble, here he is. He can fix it for you. Maybe in the Owens Valley, maybe in the Owens River, there could be a...
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we get another
right.
good year, maybe we can get Lake going again.
Yeah, there we go.
Hello, I'm Jeff Gabriel with the Eastern Sierra Interpretive Association, and we have a debut of a film that's going to be starting this summer. It is the Mono Lake, a Legacy of Hope film that is recreating the original film that was produced 30 years ago for the Mono Lake. It's now showing at the Mona Basin Scenic Area Visitor Center in the auditorium. So if you want to see the new film, please go to the Mona Basin Scenic Area Visitor Center and see it there as well. You can go to www.sierraforever.org and you can check the YouTube channel that we have a link for to be able to view it as there as well. Again, it's the Mona Basin's new film on the Mono Lake, A Legacy of Hope. I'm Jeff Gabriel with the Eastern Sierra Interpretive Association. Educate, inspire, explore.
Hi, Jason Brown here. We're talking everything Mule Days. We have in our presence Bobby and Bo Tanner. They have the Red Meadows Pack Station, and they're going to tell us a little bit about Red Meadows Pack Station. I think we'll start with Bo. Where is Red Meadows Pack Station?
Well, it is located behind Mammoth Mountain Ski Area and between Rainbow Falls and Devil's Postpile.
Okay. I know where that is. It's a beautiful area. It's got ferns all covering the ground down there. What's the river that runs down through there?
So the middle fork of the San Joaquin River.
Right, and so that is actually considered, your side of the mountain would be considered the south, the west side, right? Because
West.
that's the way the river flows out.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. Reds Meadow Pack Station, how long has it been there?
Reds Meadow Pack Station has been there since 1934.
Wow.
And our family, my father, he bought it in 1960, and so Bo will be third generation owner of Reds Meadow Pack Station.
Wow. Now
Third generation packer.
Your dad, if I'm correct, actually was a founder of Mule Days.
Correct. 1969, him and some of the other packers got together and got it organized, and they had their first Mule Days event in 1970.
Wow. Man, you got some history here. That's amazing. Talking about your pack station, what areas do you take people into?
Well, where we're located, we're right there at Devil's Postpile, so we're at Devil's Postpile National Monument. We have the John Muir Wilderness, the Ansel Adams Wilderness. We also do some trips in Yosemite.
Oh, wow.
So we have we're located right on the John Muir Trail and the Pacific Crest Trail also.
Okay. What, you have day trips, overnight trips?
We have everything from 2-hour rides to week-long pack trips.
Wow. Can you tell us a little bit about like a week-long pack trip would be like?
Usually people just go into the backcountry, some of the beautiful places we have for fishing and hiking and scenery, and spend a week in the wilderness.
Awesome. How do people book a trip with you? So, because we've got a lot of people that are watching there online. They're really enjoying Mule Days, and hopefully one of these days they'll actually make the trip over here to Bishop. Say they want to stay over and go on a trip. What do they do?
We can be reached at redsmeadow.com,
Okay.
REDSMEADOW, redsmeadow.com. Our email is info@redsmeadow.com, and our phone number is 760-934-2345.
All right, awesome. We'll put that up down here too so people can see it. Let's start with you, Bo. This is what is your favorite part of Mule Days?
Well, it's the competitions and the great people who visit there.
Oh, good answer. Good answer. How about Dad? What do you got to say?
And I have to agree with that.
Okay. All right. I like it.
Yep.
Okay. Now let's talk events. What's your favorite event?
The costume class.
Really? Okay. All right. How about you?
Well, he likes to dress up and have fun in the costume class. I like all the fun events, the comedy events, the fun things. That's what Mule Days is about. The kids contests, those kinds of things that are just fun for people to have fun with their animals and go out there and have a good time. Maybe
Yeah.
they win, maybe they lose, but they have fun.
That's what it's all about. Now tell us about the costume contest.
Well, each year it's based on one thing. Like this year, your favorite movie.
Oh, so I could be Superman Cowboy?
Yes.
Is that how it goes?
Have you figured out what you're going to be yet?
Yes.
What?
Based off of E.T. Phone Home.
Yeah. Okay. When does the costume event happen at the fair?
It's Saturday afternoon during the early in the Saturday afternoon main show.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. All right, one last question. You just stepped out of the arena. You're very hungry. Smells come whiffing up into your nose. Which vendor are you going to get food from?
The corn dog place right behind the main arena.
Yeah, there you go. What about you?
The AGR food booth. Got to have those ribs.
Gotta have the ribs.
Got to have the ribs and support the AGR guys.
All right. Okay, you heard it here. Got to support the ribs, guys. So I have to have ribs, and I gotta have a corn dog, and I gotta have popcorn, and the list just keeps going on because I have to tell you, the food is just absolutely delicious. Hey, thanks, guys, for coming into the studio and talking with us, and thank you for those of you at home watching.
Why choose us? Because our success is determined by your success. Our job is to promote you. With our combined success, we foster an after-school programs teaching, broadcasting, writing, TV, and film. We help each other and teach future generations. Call us at 760-914-9883, extension 2.
Hello, I'm Jeff Gabriel with the Eastern Seer Interpretive Association, and the summer season has started. We have the Shulman Grove Visitor Center open 7 days a week. The next is the White Mountain Visitor Center that's going to be open 6 days a week. It'll only be closed on Monday. And then the Eastern Sierra Visitor Center in Lone Pine is open 7 days a week. The Mono Basin Visitor Center in Lee Vining, again, open 7 days a week. And Mammoth Lakes Visitor Center is open 7 days a week. For more information about all the locations of the visitor centers and their hours, go to SierraForever.org. Again, I'm Jeff Gabriel with the Eastern Sierra Interpretive Association. Educate, inspire, explore.
Hello, this is Fred Rowe from Sierra Bright Dot Fly Fishing Guide Service. I've been teaching, guiding, writing, and lecturing on fly fishing in the Eastern Sierras since 1982. Let's get to this week's fly fishing report. Well, I got news. The North Landing Road for Crawley Lake is going to open sometime right after the 4th of July. So let's look forward to that. It means we can float tube out there and not have to have access to the lake out of the marina or off of not Sandy Point because that's closed, but off of Alligator Point or off of Crooked Creek area. Okay, let's talk about the Owens River, upper Owens River. All right. it's good. It's fishing really good right now. A lot of 8 to 10, 8 to 12, maybe even up to 14-inch, primarily brown trout, but a few rainbows sprinkled in there. I was on the river the other day. Guy got mostly browns. I think we ended up with 6 browns, 2 rainbows. And that kind of seems to be how the fish is working out. What are we fishing up there? Well, they're taking mayfly nymphs, both the PBMDs, which stands for pale morning duds, and then BWO, which is the blue-winged olives. And we're fishing both beadhead flashback gold-ribbed hares here and beadhead flashback pheasant tail nymphs. And those are both imitating the nymphs of those 2 insects. And then the other fly I'm fishing here is my classic stoner nymph. Hot Creek, it's fishing good. It's water's starting to slow down. The water's clearing up. The fish are feeding on the surface, on the insects that are hatching on the surface. What's hatching? Pale morning duds, little yellow stones, and blue-winged olives. Canyon, I think it fishes a little better than interpretive side just because I think it's a little bit easier. Okay, let's talk about the Owens Valley. What do we have to talk about down there? Well, Owens River, it's still out. We're done with that. Bishop Creek Canal, earlier late in the day, middle of the day, even though the temperatures have dropped a little bit, it's a lot cooler. Middle of the day, it's pretty hot. I'm still nymphing in there, using the green gold Prince sniff, using beadhead flashback gold-ribbed hares here, beadhead flashback pheasant tail, hares here in a 16, pheasant tail in a size 18, tiger and zebra midges in a size 18 or a 20. Okay, that's been this week's Fly Fishing Report, brought to you by Sierra Bright Dot Fly Fishing Guide Service. I can be found on Instagram, on Facebook, every Tuesday from 9 to 11 at Mahogany Smoked Meats, and on my favorite, lpptv.us.
If they hear you, they hunt you.
A Quiet Place, Day 1.
Time to celebrate!
Disney and Pixar's critically acclaimed Inside Out 2 is breaking records across the world.
Please, can somebody pinch me?
Ow! Critics and audiences have fallen in love with Inside Out 2, and now it's the #1 movie in the world and the biggest movie of the year. Don't miss the movie event of the summer that can only be seen in theaters.
An exclusive invitation! We're going!
Disney and Pixar's Inside Out 2. Rated PG, now playing only in theaters.
All right, so Quiet Place. If you, shame on these two, they didn't see the I guess it wouldn't be prequels because this is the prequel, but they didn't see the previous.
Just the second
to this one. Chris and I did. So I'm going to start off by saying I believe, and Chris, you don't have to see the other two to be able to enjoy this movie.
No, you don't.
No, as a matter of fact, it might be a little bit more suspenseful if you haven't seen the other two.
Yeah,
come out and to watch.
I don't know what the conceit is.
Right. So obviously, just so the viewers understand, these aliens come from another planet. They don't have senses like sight, but they have auditory. And that's why you have to be quiet, because any noise would attract them and you're dead. So I think that's a good summary of the movie.
And it's scary.
Let's start with did you like the movie, Jimmy?
I really did, yes.
Okay, that's good.
I'm not a big horror sci-fi person.
But you did enjoy this one?
Yes.
Okay.
I did not enjoy this movie.
Okay. Good.
And I did. I loved it.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this story, and I'll come more to that. I know what E's answer is on this one, but
I didn't say anything yet.
Would you watch it again?
Oh.
I would watch it again.
Yes.
goodness, I'm so sorry for that.